If I could describe a farmer in 3 words, hardworking would be number 1.
Farmers are the most creative people.
I think farmers are the most selfless people.
Reliable,
dedicated,
resilient,
passionate,
essential.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another Seed World Giant Views interview. My name is Alex Martin. I serve as the editor of Seed World magazine, and today I am so happy to host Greg Lammert, who is Corteva's Marketing Communication Manager of Crop Protection. We are here, as you can probably hear, at the American Seed Trade Association CSS and Seed Expo. The very last one that is held this year in Chicago before we move on to Orlando. But we are so excited we got to catch up with Greg right before we move. And today, Greg's going to help teach us a little bit more of a fun topic, controlling weeds for the future. Thanks so much for joining me today, Greg.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I thought we could start, for those people who might not know you as well, we could start with some introductions. Maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role with Corteva.
Sure. Greg Lammert, I'm the Marketing Communications Manager at Corteva, primarily focused on crop protection. That includes corn, soybean herbicides, and Enlist. I've been in the ag communications industry for 2.5 decades now, so have enjoyed every minute of it, seen every aspect of it, and I continue to do it every day because it's just one of the most fun things I've ever had a chance to do.
I am so glad to hear that. It is always so good when your job is so fun that you want to do it every day and get excited about it. I figured we could start a little bit easy and dive into weed control today.
Sure.
What are some of the biggest challenges you've been seeing in the field every year right now?
I would say battling resistant weeds is always a challenge that farmers face each year. One proven way to battle through those weeds is to reduce the weed resistance, to implement a program approach to weed control using multiple modes of action is essential in your burn down, your pre-emergence, your post-emergence applications. And with the Enlist weed control system, farmers have the flexibility to tank mix Enlist herbicides with additional modes of action to customize their weed control program that suits their acres. Another challenge that has grown in recent years is that farmers are more concerned with herbicide off-target movement and volatility. You know, they don't want their herbicides to move off target to someone else's crops, and yet the farmers who have Enlist treated crops, they don't want the drift to come onto their crops. So farmers with the Enlist system, you know, they can have the confidence in knowing that their Enlist herbicides are going to stay where they're sprayed.
Perfect. No, and I know one of your specialties is talking a little bit more about the Enlist weed control system. I figured we could start by just asking, you know, how is Enlist helping growers in the field every year?
Well, the Enlist weed control is truly a flexible system with fewer restrictions to apply Enlist herbicides compared with dicamba. There are multiple herbicide tolerances for broad spectrum to control. You know, in fact, there are more than 1,600 qualified tank mix products, including Liberty herbicide, giving farmers flexibility to develop a plan that fits their needs. There are no calendar cutoff dates, time of day restrictions, so farmers can spray on their schedule. Plus, there's a broad range of qualified nozzles, so farmers have the right balance of coverage and drift control. But you know, the key is farmers trust the Enlist weed control system, and it continues to grow. In just the 4 years that since we introduced Enlist E3 soybeans, we have greater than 45% of the U.S. soybean market, making the Enlist weed control system America's fastest growing trait system. With that growth, we want to ensure farmers using the Enlist system feel prepared and confident. We have robust stewardship and training available on enlist.com. There, farmers can find training modules, sign up for webinars, and download resources to help them get the most out of the Enlist system.
Perfect. Now tell me, I'm sure you get a lot of good stories from the field, from growers who are using Enlist. What is the best story you've heard from a grower who's kind of reached a breaking point and wanted to know more about Enlist?
That's a great question, because we asked that question of many farmers this past summer. There's one grower who sticks out to me, is from Illinois, and he said he knew he needed to make a change on his weed control system when he got stuck hand pulling weeds out of a buffer strip in 100-degree weather. He'd had enough. And after making the switch to the Enlist system, he found that there was much more to it than just the superb weed control he was getting. He was thrilled not having any setbacks on application restrictions. And this farmer was really concerned about drift and the potential for damaging his neighbor's beans. With the Enlist system, he said he didn't have that as a worry anymore. And we love hearing those kinds of stories from farmers who are out there using the Enlist system.
Yeah, because that's a great story to hear, especially knowing that he doesn't have to worry about his neighbor.
He is. Yeah, he was such an interesting person. We get to spend a lot of time with him over this past summer. So it was great to understand his story and how the system's been able to overcome his challenges.
Now, how sustainable is Enlist for the future? I know across the U.S. we've been in an intensive weed battle. I think that weeds are becoming more resistant, and people are looking for sustainable solutions that will last them into the future. So, how sustainable is Enlist?
Well, quite sustainable to be, but the key factor is. Not relying, the key factor on causing resistance is relying on the same mode of action year after year for your weed control. A Purdue study showed that, demonstrated that relying on a single mode of action or limited mode of action, really increased the weed seed bank and the number of weed species there that could develop resistance. And then the same study revealed that the more that you're able to integrate multiple modes of action, reduces that seed bank, reduces that potential for herbicide resistance to evolve and develop. So it's been a bit of a important part of what Corteva is trying to convey out there and deliver out to the farming community, is that we always want to continue to promote the use of a fully integrated, diversified weed control system using multiple modes of action. We always recommend farmers use a herbicide program on every acre where there's an Enlist trait. That means using an effective burn down, kind of like Elevore, then following that up with a pre-emergence application with a residual herbicide. Sonic or Kyber are great examples of that. And then follow that up with multiple modes of, or multiple sites of action in their post-emergence applications, like applying a Liberty, or like applying Enlist 1 plus Liberty, but then also incorporating a layered residual like Ever-Prex into the mix that lengthens the weed control while providing an additional site of action. In fact, there are more than 250 herbicides that farmers can tank mix with Enlist herbicides to fight weeds each year to help deter the onset of weed resistance. So I think, as it relates to the Enlist system, I'd encourage farmers to go to enlisttankmix.com to find our list of qualified tank mix partners for Enlist 1 and Enlist Duo herbicides, so they can customize their own weed management plan.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. We'll have to remind you all again, enlisttankmix.com, that's where you can find out what you can mix with your tanks to create this customizable solution. Last question for you today, Greg. If there's one thing you wanted seed companies and distributors to walk away with knowing about Enlist to help their own customers' knowledge, what is one thing that you want them to walk away with?
I want them to know it's been a very exciting time for the Enlist weed control system. We've had another year of significant growth for Enlist E3 soybeans. We have greater than 45% U.S. soybean market share right now in 2022, making the Enlist weed control system America's fastest growing soybean trait herbicide system. And in 2023, we expect the Enlist soybean market penetration to be in the mid 50% range. So it's going to continue to grow. And really it boils down to It's because farmers believe in the system. They're seeing the benefits of the weed control system by utilizing the Enlist herbicides to achieve their effective, on-target application to control their toughest weeds. And when you compare that to the in-crop dicamba system, farmers who plant Enlist E3 soybeans can be confident in knowing that they're going to get that there's no calendar cutoff dates. They have the tank mix flexibility, the near zero volatility, and plus there's minimal buffer requirements. They're going to have the option to control their toughest weeds, and they'll have the peace of mind when it comes to spraying Enlist herbicides.
That is absolutely fantastic, and I think a great way to end the day. So thank you so much, Greg, for joining us, and to everyone at home, thank you so much for giving us a good listen. We'll have a couple of more Giant Views coming out about Corteva and what they're doing with their company as we go through the American Seed Trade Association's CSS and Seed Expo. So please stay tuned. And until then, we hope that you took home something of knowledge, and we'll see you soon.